I want to kind of circle back to something that you touched on outside of, seeking that top talent. And you used something that's really near and dear to my heart. And that term was the word diversity, right? I'd love for you to spend some time on diversity because, again, I know you behind the scenes and also in front, but some of the work you've done in the diversity space behind the scenes is unmatched. But how important is it to create more diversity in eye care? And what will that do for eye care?
Yeah, well, I think it's, one of the number one or number two problems always in the profession of optometry. We should absolutely reflect our communities in whatever field we are in, but particularly in healthcare. When you're in healthcare and people are in high stress situations when they're coming to see you, and in situations where they really have to buy into the importance of the treatment and the things you're taking care of them, they have to understand you. I have a lot of examples of this in my career, and I won't bore you with them, but it is critical that a doctor reflects their community. And we are missing the boat in optometry. And when we look at the numbers, and only 4% of students who've taken the OAT in a year are African American, we've got a problem here, right? That is not the ratio of applicants that we should be seeing, or people thinking about the profession. So when I was at Nova and I was in charge of admissions, I have to credit Cheryl Reynolds, and I know you know Cheryl really well.
Oh yeah, shout out to Cheryl. She's a rock star as well.
Yeah, the year I took over in 2009, I think it was 8 or 9, Cheryl came to me and said, "You better make sure we have some good diversity in this class because we're in South Florida, and we are in a very diverse community, and we better have a great diverse class." I took that to heart, and really took up her charge and did my very best to help meet that challenge that she gave me. And we did. Nova had the most diverse entering class for year over year when I was in charge of the admissions program there. I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
So when I got to Kentucky, it's a different challenge.
Oh yeah.
We live in a very homogenous community in Eastern Kentucky where most people have no experience of ever living, right? I mean, it's a small town in Appalachia. You've been to visit us, I know.
Oh yeah, tons of times.
Yeah, you know Pikeville. So, it is, I really was bothered by that. How am I going to recruit diverse students to my college in Eastern Kentucky? So, we were talking about, what barriers are there to entry into the profession, and what barriers can we knock down? And, some people have changed like the admission standards. In fact, Indiana School of Optometry got rid of the OAT. I'm not sure that's the best idea yet. Data will prove that in the next year or so.
Yeah.
But they were trying to knock down a barrier. So the barrier I said and thought about was, the OAT costs $510. And I kept hearing stories from students saying, I went to the public library to get some reading materials, study materials for the OAT, and they handed me an MCAT book because they had nothing on optometry. So, I thought, financial barriers are one we can knock down. Those are ones we can take out. So thankfully, at the time at the University of Pikeville, one of my really good friends was the vice president of development. And I went to him and I said, I have this idea. I really want to knock down the barrier of financial impact from the OAT to try to get some underrepresented students to come into the profession. And he said, let me have a minute and I'll think about this. And he came back, and there's a local family in Eastern Kentucky who has in their heart to improve diversity in health professions. And they gave me $10,000 and they said, do it. See if you can figure this out. So we did. And I created a little committee, and we set up an application, and we started putting the word out that we would assist underrepresented students and first in college, because we had first in college students in Eastern Kentucky that also had financial need. And we started paying for people to take the OAT. And I went back to them again because we burned through $10,000 like that. And then I went back to them again. And then I went to my brother and I asked him for money. And a lot of people supported it, including in the last 2 years, my eye doctor. You guys were the absolute very first corporate contributors to the KICO OAT grant, which I'm very thankful for. But let me just share with you a number or two, if you don't mind.
Yeah, far away.
I had Dr. Ibaranque print out some numbers for me. So we have to date funded 65 students to take the OAT. 39 of those students were Black, 11 were Latinx, 8 were Asian, 5 white, and 1 Native American. Of those, 30 students are currently in optometry school. I'm so proud of that. I mean, there are 30 students that we paid for their OAT that are in optometry school. And only 2 are at the Kentucky College of Optometry. So there are 7 at PCO.
Okay.
There are 5 at SUNY, 3 at UHCO, my alma mater, 2 at Berkeley, 2 at NECO, 2 at SCO in Memphis, 2 in Puerto Rico, 1 at ICO, 1 at Indiana, 1 at UAB, 1 at Nova, and 1 at Rosenberg in San Antonio. So I'm really proud of that. You know, here we were, a little school in Eastern Kentucky, but we drove, knocked down a barrier to allow 30 students to start optometry school in the last couple of years. And that makes me really proud because it wasn't really just doing it for Kentucky, it was doing it for the profession of optometry. And
100%, man. And I love to hear that, and I love to see that, right? And I want all my colleagues out there to, pull out that checkbook.
Yeah.
Let's get some money, right? Because we got to keep this fund going, right? As you mentioned, my eye doctor donated. And we want to see a change in the profession. We want to grow the profession. So we invest heavily in the profession, right? But I like to reach out to all my colleagues out there and do the same. And I like to reach out to all the other organizations out there to do the same. NVI, Warby Parker, VSP. Where are you at? Let's make the magic happen. Johnson Johnson Vision, Alcon, Cooper Vision. I'm calling you all out because this is what we need to push this profession forward, right?
It does. And it's such a simple thing. I mean, we're just taking out this barrier. And I should say one other thing about this grant. We pay for the OAT. We pay it directly to the ADA who administers it. And we drop ship those students a brand new set of OAT study guides.
Nice.
So we order them from Amazon. We have 3 that we've, sort of vetted to make sure they were the best ones. And we drop ship those to the students right away, and they can get started with good quality study materials so that when they go take the test, they can be successful on that test. So, yeah.
What's up, esteemed colleagues? If you like this short highlight, there's more where that came from. Dive into the full episode right here. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for our latest updates. Make it happen, Captain. We definitely want you to tune in. Your support fuels our passion. See you in the next highlight.